Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnur Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we were talking about Dikparivara Devatas. I'll just open the document. So there is a picture that is posted in the forum. So if anybody wants to just refer to that while we are discussing this. So if first let's the easiest way for us to do it is take us as in the center, and then the Dikparivara Devatas that are protecting us from all sides. So when you do that, the first two positions. The first position is here. Okay, second position is here, third position is here, fourth, fifth, then sixth, seventh. Did I make any sense? So even now you should see it as mirror. So the first position is like Sharabashaluva is in the front, then Pratyangira on my right, on everybody's right, and then Shulini Devi is third here on the left, and the back I have Sudarshana, and the back just one step back to that is Sudarshana Narsimha. Then again to the left after after Shulini, behind Shulini is Aghorastram, actually not Aghora, Aghorastra, and then coming to the front I have Vanadurga after one step after Shulini. Did I make sense? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now do the same thing for Devi, because Devi is sitting in front of us. So for her, the front is Shulini. To our left would be Pratyangira, because her right is Pratyangira. And then her left is Shulini, which becomes our right. Behind Devi is Sudarshana and Nrisimha Sudarshana, or Sudarshana Nrisimha. And then to her left you get Aghorastra, and then towards us. So there is Shulini, and then the one step towards us will be Vanadurga.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So moving to the Nama, we finished Annada. Annada is, Da means Annadaha. We use a Visarga for masculine gender. Annada with a Dhirgam is feminine gender. They mean the same thing, and you get this Nama in both Lalita Sahasram and Vishnu Sahasram, Shiva Sahasram, in every Sahasrams, because ultimately the Poshaka, that is giving us the nutrients, and through food and nutrition is coming through to us from Bhagavan himself or Bhagavati herself. So therefore she is Annada. Next Nama is Vasudha. And here I think we were talking about Vasudha versus Vasudha. For some reason, in Vasudha is a name in many Telugu families, but for some reason DHA is written for them, Vasudha. But it is Vasudha because she is the one who is giving the wealth. Vasu means wealth, and she is the giver of wealth. She not only gives the food, water, shelter, but she also gives the wealth, so we can enjoy a lot more that is available to us through resources. So she is Vasudha. Then Vriddha, 671. So within the same shloka 132. Namaskaram Padmaji. We are doing shloka 132 and Nama 671. Vriddha. So easy for us to know. Vriddha means, the elderly lady. And because she is elderly, she has been there forever. And there is no way for us to find out. This particular universe creation might have been 4 billion years, but prior to that, many, many universes and manifestations, and not just this universe, there are many parallel universes, and we would never be able to find her age. So she is Vriddha. So we will always say that she is Nitya Shodashi. She is ever 16, despite being, many billions and gazillions of years age. She is always ever young. The other meanings for this is she is Vriddha means she is the eldest than everybody. She's the and she is in the form of Jagrat. So she is the one who did the vriddhi of the entire universe. Vriddhi means growth. So the universe has grown because of her. So she is in that form. And she is actually sustaining and maintaining and letting those individual forms in the universe also grow. So therefore she is Vriddha in that sense as well. So there are 4 meanings for this. Moving to the next nama, 672, Brahmatmyaikya Swarupini. So when we were doing Nirdvaita and Advaita Varjita, did we go through the point on why 2 namas have been given like simultaneously, Nirdvaita and Dvaita Varjita? What was there reason to repeat 2 namas? Did we mention that? Dvaita Varjita is a very important nama because it shows Advaitam. First Nirdvaita, easy to say, she is the only one and there is nobody else at the time of the creation. But Dvaita Varjita, even in the future, she would never have a second. She is the only one. Ekameva Dvitiyam. So even when there are so many names and forms, ultimately again it is only her and not these many forms and names. So that's the reason why it is Nirdvaita, Dvaita Varjita. Varjitam, Dvaitam is Varjitam, so it is not even there. So that's a very important nama to understand Advaita philosophy. So Brahmatmaikya Swarupini. So in conscious state, so this is the Hamsa mantra. So I did mention that many mantras are embedded within the namas. So Brahmatmaikya Swarupini is Hamsa mantra. We did talk about Hamsa mantra in the past, where Aham Saha or Sahaham Soham. So which means that I am him and he is me. So that shows the Jivatma Paramatma Aikya mantra. And I did mention there is again the entire Karanyasam, Anganyasam and the shloka, Dhyana shlokam for it, etc. So we will learn it at some point. But in this case, so in what we have to understand is this mantra is the union of Brahman and Atman. Brahma Atma Aikya Swarupini. So even that Aikyam that happens, that is also the mother. So she is the Atman within us. She is the Brahman. But she is also that Aikyam that happens between the two. She is the thread we were just talking about in Vishnu Sahasranamam. In the Sutre Manigana Iva, she is the thread that is connecting all of us. And she is also the pearls. She is also not just me as a pearl, but all the other pearls that exist. And she is the one that is connecting all of us. And that connection itself is nothing but the mother. So that is Brahmatmaikya Swarupini. Then Brahmani, Brahmatmaikya Swarupini, Brihati. Brihat Chandas is a Chandas, just like Gayatri Chandas, Anushtup Chandas, Trishtup Chandas. Brihati Chandas is Briha word is big, huge. So for example, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is the largest Upanishad, and similarly Brihat Chandas is also very long. It has 36 syllables. So that Brihati Chandas is mother. Or then Brihat Sama, it is a word. So even in one second, in Bhagavad Gita, So where Bhagavan says, I am Brihat Sama among Samas, is Samans. So she is the Brihat Sama. Even just like Bhagavad Gita, when mother is saying she is the Brihat Sama. See, she is the Jeshta Swarupam of everybody. We were just looking at that. That's why she is Brihat. She is massive, immeasurable, and we have seen that even in the first couple shlokas, Sri Mata, and where we said she is immeasurable. And she is richer than rich. That's also another meaning of Brihati. Brahmani. So she is a Brahmana Stri. A Brahmana Stri is called as Brahmani. And she is Oshadhi Vishesha Swarupam. So Oshad, there is a special medicinal herb called Brahmani, and she is that. She is Samvit Visesha Swarupam, which means there is a, when we say Brahmana, there is that association of Brahmana with knowledge. So she is Samvit, means she has great knowledge, that spiritual knowledge. So that Visesha Swarupam is Brahmani, and she is the wife of Shiva. So Shiva is Brahma, or he is a Brahmana, and therefore she is Brahmani in that sense as well. So she is Brahmani. Brahmi is different than Brahmani. So Brahmi is Brahma's Shakti. So Brahma's consort is Ma Saraswati, but Brahmi is the Shakti of Brahma. So we did talk about these Shaktis, Brahmi, Vaishnavi, Maheshwari, Kaumari, Vainayaki, Chamundi. So we know all of those Shaktis, Ashtamatrikas. In Ashtamatrikas, Brahmi comes first. So she is the consciousness of Brahman or Brahma, Chaturmukha Brahma, and she is the energy or the power, the Shakti of Brahma. And she is the Vak Swarupam, because Brahma is associated with knowledge and giving of Vedas. So she is the Vak Swarupam. Therefore, she is called Brahmi. I should probably share an image of a picture of what each of the Ashtamatrikas bestow on us. So I will do that. If I don't do it right after the class, I'll forget. So please remind me if I forget about it. I have a small book about Ashtamatrika Puja. In this, there are just one page that shows a small mantram on Brahmi Matru, what she bestows. And then each of all the Arishad Vargas that we have, how they remove those Arishad Vargas. That's the essence of why these powerful Shaktis are in the external chakram, in the Sri Chakram. They are in the Bhupuram, not in some of the internal chakras or avaranas. And the reason why, because we have to get rid of those Arishad Vargas in order to move forward in our spiritual journey. So therefore, Brahmi, Vaishnavi, everybody remembers the positions. If you have learned the positions, I hope. So where does Brahmi occur? Pop quiz. Where is Brahmi on Sri Chakram? Brahmi's position. Okay. So in the Bhupuram, there are 3 lines, 3 squares. It is the second square. At the first entrance, as we are sitting in front of the Sri Chakram, the first entrance on the left, that is Brahmi's position. So Brahmi, Maheshwari, Kaumari, Vaishnavi, Varahi, Mahendri, Chamundi, Mahalakshmi. So go back and revise that and know where Brahmi's position is. I'll also provide the mantras for each of the Ashtamatrikas, so you can chant them and to get rid of the Arishad Vargas. Moving to the next nama, 676, Brahmananda. So she, and I mentioned there are many Anandas, and there is a whole lecture on how Anandas work and what kind of Ananda we get based on the spiritual journey and progression of the spiritual journey. So Brahmanandam is that Aikyam that you get. So she is Brahma, the Brahma himself is Ananda, and you attain that kind of Anandam that Brahma is enjoying, is how it is explained in one variation. And then she's the one who has Brahmananda, and she's the one who can bestow us, or she can bless us with Brahmanandam, that as soon as that Aikyam that happens at the stage of Brahmi, we get Brahmananda. Moving to Balipriya. So one of the controversial namas, people take all sorts of meanings for this. So we will understand the first meaning of Bali. Okay, the dictionary meaning before we have our own prejudices about the word Bali. As soon as we say, we have to give Bali at the end of the puja, people think, we are going to slaughter animals. It's unfortunate. It is the colonial history and how they concocted stories and created this variation and embedded into our minds. So we have to get out of it. The word Bali means strong. Balin means a strong person. So Balipriya, in simple meaning, let's take the simplest of the meanings. In Vamana Avatara, Bhagavan, in Vamana, in the form of Vamana, he came to Bali Raja to give him moksha. So he was Balipriya. Okay, or Balipriyaha. So that's one. So those who are able to overcome nations, etc., and conquer the enemies, they are called as Balins. So we just now think about the context of where this is coming to us. One is Brahmi and Brahmananda and then Balipriya. And we have always seen that namas in Lalita Sahasranamam have a link in a very sequential order, and there is a mala mantram that is happening. So suddenly after these two, why is Balipriya coming? Not to slaughter animals, but it is telling us how Balins conquer their enemies, and our main enemies are not external, there are internal enemies which are our Arishadvargas, and we have to conquer our own internal enemies. So Balipriya means those who are Balins, who are able to conquer themselves and conquer their own internal or inner enemies. She is fond of them, therefore she is Balipriya. Okay, and Bali are also in a yajnam. All the offerings, all the puja dravyas that exist in any puja, even now nowadays we don't do serious yagas, yajnas on a daily basis, but whatever puja dravyas we have, those are called as Bali. So she is in the form of all of those, just like how we say the offering Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahma, so all of that, everything that we are offering to Bhagavan, and all those offerings are nothing but him. So she is the puja dravyas who are Balis. Now let's also talk about this Bali. Bali is like when we say in the Vamacharam, we've talked about Dakshinacharam, Vamacharam, if you have been listening to the classes. Dakshinacharam is following the Vedic Paddhati, and Vamacharam has different parts of Veda. Some of those are backed by Shastras, but different parts of Veda, mostly Atharva Veda has some of these aspects in it. So those people who follow that, and to gain personal advantages, some of these activities are conducted. So, but even in Dakshinacharam, there is so that Bali is given when there is positivity that is happening, there is always negative forces to try to destroy that positiveness. And I always tell the kind of story or the context is, how Vishwamitra had to take Rama to the yajnam that is being performed. Where there is yajnam, then there are Rakshasas who are trying to destroy that and digress and distract the positiveness that's happening during that yajnam. And then Rama comes and destroys those Rakshasas and lets the yajnam happen without any vignas. Similarly, any major pujas, any yajnams that we perform, there is always negative forces surrounding it. So we provide that Bali to those negative forces, so they are pleased with it, and just to appease to them, and they disappear. It is a small portion of whatever naivedyam that we provide to the deity that we are performing. So for example, we are doing Mother's Puja, the Navavrana Puja for example. After the naivedyam, we take a small piece of that naivedyam, put it in a copper bowl, and after we just do complete some of the rituals, immediately we provide that naivedyam or the bali to the forces that exist there, that have visited, uninvited guests, and give it to them, appease to them, and ask them to leave. So that exists. So she is Bali Priya. She is also in the form of she is the one who is in the form of that bali that is being offered, and she is also one that is offering it, and she is also the one that is asking the negative forces to striking them away. So in that sense also she is Bali Priya. But the main meaning that you can take coming from the context of the previous two namas is she is the one, she is fond of the balins, the strong people who get rid of their enemies or conquer their enemies, whether they are inner or external, but mostly internal enemies is most of us who have those. So conquering our enemies so we can move forward in our spiritual journey. Moving to shloka 133, we'll just look at the shloka first and then look at the meanings. Bhasha Rupa Brihatsena Bhava Bhava Vivarjita Sukharadhya Shubhakari Shobhana Sulabhagatihi. So there are 3 namas in the first line and 4 namas in the second line, and many Mahapranas, and especially Bha is a very important Mahaprana. Try saying Bha a few times and you will understand why. Please, when you are chanting, try to observe where the vibration is happening in your body. That's how you can merge chanting with meditation and improve your vibrations. So it is very effective. Bhasha Rupa, that Bha is Mahaprana. Brihatsena is regular Ba. Bhava Bhava Vivarjita, both Bhas are Mahapranas. Sukharadhya, Kha and Dhya are both Mahapranas. Shubha, that Bha is Mahaprana. Shobhana, that Bha is also Mahaprana. Sulabhagatihi, that Bha is also Mahaprana. In Sukharadhya and Sulabhagatihi, it is regular Sa, Saraswati Sa. In Shubhakari, Shobhana, this is the Shiva Sha, not Sha, which is different than Sha, and there is Sa. So when you are chanting it together, and notice the science between why Sukaradhya, Shobhana, Sulabhagatihi, it is she sells seashells at the seashore, kind of. Okay. We'll chant this shloka. Who would like to chant this with me?
I can, Shiji.
Awesome. Bhasha Rupa Brihatsena Bhava Bhava Vivarjita.
Bhasha Rupa Brihatsena Bhava Bhava Vivarjita.
Sukharadhya Shubhakari Shobhana Sulabhagatihi.
Sukharadhya Shubhakari Shobhana Sulabhagatihi.
Awesome. Thank you. I think I just put that in your head, that hesitation. Would you like to chant the full shloka, Taraji?
Yeah. Bhasha Rupa Brihatsena Bhava Bhava Vivarjita Sukharadhya Shubhakari Shobhana Sulabhagatihi.
Awesome. It just makes me feel good that you're paying attention. Thank you. Not that you didn't know how to chant it even before this. Okay, moving to the nama. Bhasha Rupa 678. Easy to understand. She is the Bhasha, the Rupam of Bhasha. So even Bhasha has a Rupam, right? She is the Swarupam of that. So there are 2 ways you can take the meaning. One is she is a Swarupam of Bhasha. And the second one is through this Bhashas, she gets a Rupam. Her Rupam is formed through the Bhashas. And whether it is through chanting all the shastras that we have, or even through gaining knowledge based on that bhasha that she has provided us. So that is why she is bhasha rupa. One, she is the rupam, and the other, her rupam is formed through the bhashas. Or
here is language, or
language, yeah. And the rupam is formed in the sense of visualizing that rupam. She does not have a rupam in the first place. So we are creating a rupam for her through the language, or we are trying to visualize, understand. So all the dhyana shlokas that we learn are nothing but giving her a form for us to visualize and focus on. So that is bhasha rupa. Brihat sena. So easy to understand again. Brihat means big. Sena is, again, we know, army. So she is the one who has a large army. So they say there is no limit to this. It is aparichinna sena that she has. So we talked about the 64 yoginis and 64 chatusashti upacharadhya. So there is chatusashti yogini devatas that are performing, or her seva, and all the sena that exists is unlimited beyond even that. And she is, Brihat Sena is a king, and she is the swarupam of that Brihat Sena king. So in that sense, she has a large sena is the more important one from this context. Bhava bhava vivarjita. Again, dvaita varjita. Here again, bhava bhava vivarjita. So bhava, abhava are duality, and she does not have those bhava and abhava. So she is devoid of existence and non-existence. So she manifests, unmanifests, but none of these actually even touch her. It is not her. She is not in that maya of existence, non-existence, or any of the gunas or anything. So she is just performing those activities in a very seamless fashion without getting herself into the maya of all that's happening. So she is bhava abhava vivarjita. Then sukharadhya. So very easy for us to let's just look at this one. Sukhena upavasadi rupa kaya klesham dheya swarupa niyama nirbandhadikam cha antarenapadhya. So she can be worshipped in so many different ways. So it is easy for anyone to do her aradhyam or to worship her. So whether you do it, and that's where they're saying upavasadi. So you can do her worship through upavasam. Rupa kaya klesham dhyaya swarupam niyama nirbandhadikam. So you can follow any kind of rules and still get access to her. So without bodily pain, by fasting, etc., is also like another sukharadhya, means you don't even need to have this kind of exorbitant restrictions and all of that. She is easily accessible without that. So Shubhakari, so she is the one who is doing Shubhakaryas, whether it is the cosmic Shubhakaryam of creation, sustenance and dissolution. Even dissolution is a Shubhakaryam. And whether the Shubhakaryas that she is bestowing on us, so we can perform whatever we call our little empirical state Shubhakaryas. So I purchased some a new pen and I'm happy about it. So that is a Shubhakaryam. So all those at the cosmic stage, or as a state, or at a regular a human infinite finite state, everything is being provided by her. So she is Shubhakari. Shobhana, the right path and easily attained is how it is translated. So Shobhana means moksha. So she herself is moksha. So she bestows Shubhakari and Shobhana. So when we say Shubhakari, we said gave the example of buying a pen. But she is talking about Shobhana, which is giving the moksham, which is the highest of the forms of Shubham that can happen. So she provides that as well. Sulabha Gatihi. So in Bhaskara Raya's, there is the Shobhana Sulabha Gatihi is given as one nama. In a different commentary, it's given as two different namas. So Sulabha Gatihi, you can combine them, you can separate them, however you want to do it. The meaning does not change in either of those commentaries. Sulabha Gati means, again, very easy to attain that path. She makes moksha accessible, easy for even a regular person, and you don't need to go through these kind of restrictions and extravagant aradhya forms. You don't need to give bodily pain in order to do her aradhana and still get the shubhakari of getting the shobhana means in order to get that moksha. So she is Sukhopasya is the word that is being used. Very easy to do her pujas, though it takes hours, just saying. But you can also do recently I was explaining to someone. So initially, we start our pujas with very small, we have our small little Ganesha or small little Krishna when we are young, and we are taught to do puja, right? And then from there, the pujas keep going and going, and we keep thinking how many stotras are there? Can I even ever finish and learn all of these? So the pujas get longer because we learn something new, and they keep getting so long that we can't sustain that is not even possible for us to do. And then at some point they start getting constricted because we have so many other obligations, and ultimately we learn some upasana paddhati. It is the same thing. They start from here, and they keep telling us it will take a lot of time. Just saying. It'll grow and grow and grow and grow, and you're spending almost 6 hours in the puja and your family thinks you're crazy. But then suddenly after one stage, just go to the next stage, and it becomes constricted to less than 2 minutes. You just sat there and you did your puja and you have finished your Navavarana. It is beyond even more powerful than even the Navavarana puja, is how it is explained. So recently somebody was asking me, how does that work? I am doing, she just learned Navavarana puja. So she was asking, oh my God, it just takes so long. How are you saying it just hardly takes 2 minutes? How does that get constricted into this? So the example I had to give her was, if you're think about some 50-60 years ago when how mail was delivered. You had to write a letter, post it, go to the post office, post it in the box, and some postman it gets delivered through ship to another country. There another postman takes it and delivers it. It just goes to so many cities, and ultimately somebody walks to the door and hands the same letter. It'll take 30 days before you get it. But now we write an email, it goes in a quick second. Doesn't mean you're not sending that same message. The how it is sent is, the format has changed, and it is simple to send something nowadays. So similarly, just that portal, it's like a portal of entry, a black hole that you enter into, and you just end up in a different dimension. Similarly, it just constricts itself into a very short paddhati, but in order to get to that point, you would have to spend at least 3 to 4 years doing Sri Vidya Upasana and learning everything. And then once you have the full understanding of all of this, it just gets constricted because you don't need that long of a time, because you have the full understanding of it, and it becomes very easy. So when we say Sukharadhya, Shubhakari, Shobhana, Sulabhagatihi, yes, it is true, but in the initial stages, that's not how it feels. Moving to the next nama, Rajarajeshwari, Rajnyam Devarajadinam Ye Rajano Brahma Vishnu Rudraha Tesham Api Ishwari Rajarajasya Kuberasya Ishwariva. So there are two meanings that are given by Bhaskara Raya.
Chant this now.
What's that? Oh yeah, we did not chant this. Oh, see. Good point, Taraji. So, Raja Rajeshwari, Rajyadayini, Rajya Vallabha, Rajat Krupa, Rajapitha Niveshita Nijashrita. So in this one, Rajya Vallabha is that Bha is Mahaprana. Notice that first Nama is Raja Rajeshwari. In the second line, the first Nama is Rajat Kripa. But even the next line, the next Nama in the second line is Rajapitha. But the second and the third Namas in the first line are Rajya and Rajya Vallabha. So some people I have noticed that they chant everything as Raja, Raja, Raja. So she is not Raja Vallabha. She is Rajya Vallabha and Rajya Dayini, not Raja Dayini, which just changes the meaning. So make sure that you are keeping that in mind when we are doing fast chanting. We tend to just miss these points. Don't do that. The meanings will change. So Rajapitha, that tha is Mahaprana. Who would like to chant this shloka? Samkrantiji. Rajarajeshwari Rajyadayini Rajyavallabha.
Rajarajeshwari Rajyadayini Rajyavallabha.
Rajat Kripa Rajapitha Niveshita Nijashrita.
Rajat Kripa Rajapitha Niveshita Nijashrita.
Awesome. Can you chant the full shloka, please?
Rajarajeshwari Rajyadayini Rajyavallabha. Rajat Kripa Rajapitha Niveshita Nijashrita.
Awesome. Wanted to remind one more thing. If you remember, I always said in Anushtup Chandas for any sahasranamam, including Vishnu, Lalita, Lakshmi, Shiva, Ganesha, any sahasranamam, don't break in between. For Bhagavad Gita, we do a different tone, so we can just break after 8 syllables. That's how Chinmaya Mission has taught us. And that works for Bhagavad Gita, but it does not work for any sahasranamams. This is an example of that shloka. Notice that after 8 syllables, Raja, Rajeshwari, Rajya. So if you break it after Rajya, you are breaking the Nama Rajya Dayini is one word. So you are breaking in the half, and the next half would be Dayini Rajya Vallabha, and Dayini does not really, she is a giver of what? So it does not really sync properly. So always, even if somebody is chanting, you can always just take the privilege to just go correct them and say, chant it together. I was surprised actually, even Abhideya chanted with breaking 8 syllables each. I was surprised that she did it with that kind of following of almost 1 million followers on YouTube. So they shouldn't be doing that kind of mistakes. So we will just do full line chanting, never break after the 8 syllables. Okay, moving to Raja Rajeshwari. So even Rajnyam, Devarajadinam, Ye Rajano, Brahma Vishnu Rudraha, Teshamapi Ishwari is what they're saying. That meaning. So she is a Ishwari of Rajas. So she would be Rajeshwari if we said that. But it is Raja Rajeshwari means so the kings of kings. Even for them, she is the Ishwari of them. And Ye Rajano Brahma Vishnu Rudraha. She is the Ishwari of even Brahma Vishnu Rudraha. So therefore she is Raja Rajeshwari. And the second meaning that's given is Raja Rajasya Kuberasya Ishwari. So a Raja Raja means king of kings is Kubera, because that's the treasury, etc. So they do Kubera Puja. There is a whole Kubera Puja process, and even homas for Kubera Pujas, etc. that are performed by kings. And even in temples and where they're looking for donations, etc. they do Kubera Pujas and Kubera homas. So she is an Ishwari of even Kubera. So therefore she is Raja Rajeshwari. Rajyadayini, she gives or bestows kingdom. So that is easy to understand. So she bestows kingdom to kings, or kingdom to us is Swargam. So she is a bestower of the Swarga for those who are looking for. Swargagamis will get Swargam. And Mokshagamis do not go through the Swarga process, and it's a long journey. So she gives Moksham. The previous one was those who are looking for Moksham, Shulabhagatihi, I'll give you that. If you're looking for Swargam, I'll give you that. But if you're looking for empirical Anandam and you want just a regular kingdom on planet Earth, you can also get that. Is how, she is dividing into 3 different categories of people looking for, their paths and the results of their paths. So she, no matter whatever that is, she bestows that. Rajya Vallabha. So she, Vallabha means one who is, fond of or in love with. So she is as a Rajeshwari, as the mother kingdom. She is chief is fond of Rajya. So she is the Rajya Lakshmi. And she is also the deity or Ishwari of the Rajas of each of those kingdoms. Even for Indra, who is the king of his Rajyam, which is the Indradhipatyam, we say, right? So even for him, she is the Ishwari, or she is the Vallabha. For them, they love mother. So therefore she is called as Rajya Vallabha. Rajat Kripa. So she bestows that kingdom, and that Kripa is Rajat Kripa means okay, I need to Rajnyam Rupanam Indradinam cha Pitheshu Simhasaneshu Niveshita Nija Ashrita Yaya. So that's how it's explained. So let's just look at the way that is translated into radiating compassion. I don't like that translation. I'm having difficulty trying to read and explain in English at the same time, and the English meanings are not appealing to me sometimes. So let's just look at this very specifically. Rajnyam, Rupanam, Indradinam. We were just talking about all of these. So kings, emperors, even Indra. Chapiteshu simhasaneshu niveshita nija ashrita yaya. So she is the one who placed them in those positions with compassion because they are fond of her, or they are her priya bhaktas. So she has, with compassion, she has put them in those positions. So Rajapitha niveshita nija ashrita. Moving to the next nama, Rajya Lakshmi. We were just talking about that. She is prosperity in the form of Rajyam, which is a kingdom. Koshanadha. Koshasya Bhandagarasya Divyasya Annamayarderva Natha or Swamini. So one is Koshanadha, for the Devas is Kubera. So Koshanadha, so she is Kauberi. Kauberi is Kubera's Shakti Devata. And she is therefore the Swamini of the Deva Bhandagaram, or the treasury of the Devas. And she is Koshanadha. Think about the Panchakoshas. So she is the Ishwari of all the Panchakoshas within us, which is the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya Koshas. So she is the Ishwari of that. And because we are talking about in the context of Rajas or kingdoms, for every kingdom there is a treasury, and she is the Ishwari, she is the Devata of that treasury. So in that sense, she is Koshanatha. Chaturanga Baleshwari. So Chaturangas of Senas are in nowadays we say it is like, the Navy, the Air Force and the Army, and the raw agents, etc. So in the olden days, so Ratha Gaja Turaga Padadi 4, which means Ratha Gaja Turaga means, so there is the army that is on rathams. Usually the executive force is on the rathams. There is Gaja, which is Gajasena, which is on the elephants. And then there is Turaga, which is like Ashwas, the horse Sena. And then Padadi, there are many foot soldiers. So all the Chaturanga Baleshwari. So for those kings, if you take it from the context of Rajalakshmi, etc., she is the Devata of all the armies. And she gives them the strength. The strength of the army is given by her. So she is Chaturanga Baleshwari. So she is the and she is the Shakti Vyuha Swarupini. And she is the Chaturvidha Purushas, that is our Sena, is our Dharmartha Kama Mokshas in nowadays, where we don't have kingdoms. So for us, it is the Chaturvidha Purushas. So she is the Swarupini of all the Dharmartha Kama Mokshas. So she is Chaturanga Baleshwari. Just realized we are running out of time, so we'll conclude here and we'll come back to Samrajyadayini in 692 next week. Sure, of course.
It's like Bruhat, in the first Bruhat you said, and said in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said he is Bruhat Saman.
Yeah, Bruhat Sama, Saman, Bruhat Samaham. So among Samans, I am the Bruhat Sama.
What does Samans mean?
Samans is like Samagayans.
Okay. Thank you, Shri.
Okay, we'll conclude with the Shanti Mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadayah Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sarvam Sri Paradevatarpnamastu. Thank you so much for your time. Namaskaram.
Thank you, Shriji.
Namaskaram.
Thank you, Sriji. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
Thank you, Shri.